Last month, the judge issued a temporary restraining order blocking her from making those appointments without approval from trustees.
I am about to address some things as the supervisor. There will be no comments, there won't be anything. It will just be me addressing you guys to tell you what's.
I've got some books that's career. Inside I have from the United States District Court.
Last month, the judge issued a temporary restraining order blocking her from making those appointments without approval from trustee. I am about to address some things as the supervisor. There will be no comments, there will be anything. It just be me addressing you guys to tell you what. Get ready for some serious drama as we dive into the chaotic world of Dalton, Illinois, where Mayor Tiffany Henyard is making waves, and not in a good way. Henyard, the first female mayor of the small town, is at the center of one of the most outrageous political scandals you've probably never heard of, but trust me, after hearing about it you'll want to know every detail. Buckle up, it's going to be a wild ride. Investigator, I've got some offs. Come here. Inside I have from the United States District. Despite being embroiled in multiple investigations and facing serious allegations of missing public funds, as well as enduring a barrage of accusations that threaten to ruin her reputation, Tiffany Henyard has announced her intention to run for re-election as mayor of Dalton. Yes, you heard that right, re-election. Many are left scratching their heads wondering why someone so deep in controversy with a history of financial mismanagement and questionable practices would choose to pursue a political career under such intense scrutiny. To understand this puzzling decision, it's necessary to take a closer look at Henyard's rise to power. When she was elected mayor of Dalton in 2021, it was seen as a historic moment for the small town just south of Chicago. Henyard became the first woman to hold the office, and there was a wave of optimism as the community hoped for change. She campaigned on a platform of transparency, reform, and improving the quality of life for residents, which resonated deeply with voters tired of the old political guard and their broken promises. The future seemed bright, and Henyard stood as a symbol of progress and new vision for Dalton. However, that sense of hope quickly faded as cracks began to show in Henyard's administration. The ambitious goals that initially sparked excitement soon became overshadowed by growing concerns about her leadership. Allegations of financial mismanagement surfaced, with suspicions of missing public funds and the improper allocation of taxpayer money. These revelations sparked public outrage and led to a series of investigations. What was once seen as a promising start now seemed like a chaotic descent into dysfunction. Her administration, which had been celebrated for his potential, began to face increased skepticism. Reports of shady financial dealings, unaccounted for spending, and negligence in key areas like insurance and senior services raised alarms among residents. As the investigations piled up, Henyard's once promising career appeared to be unraveling in spectacular fashion. Legal battles also became a significant part of the narrative, including a lawsuit challenging her removal from the Thornton Township Democratic ballot after she suffered a defeat in the Democratic caucus in December. These moves only served to deepen the perception among critics that Henyard was more focused on salvaging her political career than serving the people who had voted her into office. On top of these professional struggles, Henyard's personal financial issues also came to light. Allegations of unpaid rent and ongoing legal disputes with her landlord painted a picture of a woman whose personal and professional worlds were in disarray. Despite this, Henyard has chosen to push forward with a re-election campaign, a decision that many find baffling in the face of mounting scrutiny and investigations. One could view this decision as pure audacity, a bold, unapologetic attempt to fight for political survival no matter the cost. Political leaders who face difficult circumstances often return to the battlefield in an effort to turn things around and reclaim their position, and Henyard may believe that she can still win over enough voters by emphasizing the struggle she has faced, positioning herself as a resilient figure rather than one weighed down by controversy. Alternatively, some might argue that Henyard has no other choice but to run for re-election. With her political career hanging by a thread, running for re-election could be her only chance to secure her future and attempt to clear her name by re-entering the race. Henyard might hope to rally her supporters, framing her controversies as products of systemic challenges rather than personal failings. This could potentially give her another shot at rebuilding her credibility and perhaps winning back the trust of the community. Henyard's decision to run for re-election also comes at a time when Dalton is facing significant financial disarray and political gridlock. Program meant to serve vulnerable populations such as seniors and low-income families have been put on hold due to mismanagement. Critics have argued that Henyard has neglected these critical services, further fueling resentment toward her leadership. Yet Henyard might view her re-election bid as an opportunity to overcome her failures and chart a new course for Dalton. This could be her chance to regain control of the narrative and steer the town toward a more positive future despite the heavy criticism. Regardless of the reasons behind her decision, Henyard's re-election bid signals that she is undeterred despite the relentless public backlash and mounting opposition. She seems willing to stand firm and face the criticism head-on, whether she sees this as a final stand to salvage her political career or a strategic move to reframe or image. Hen's audacity to run again demonstrates her determination to defy the odds and continue her fight for power no matter how controversial it may be. The fact remains that Dalton is at a crossroads. The town's financial situation is in dire straits and residents are grappling with the fallout from Hen's leadership. Whether or not she can turn the tide in her favor and secure a second term is uncertain, but one thing is clear: Hen's re-election bid is not just about politics, it's about her survival in the public eye as the town faces one of its darkest chapters. The stakes couldn't be higher for both Henyard and the people of Dalton. Adra is shameful. Y'all are a disgrace. We watch almost immediately after taking office. Tiffany Henyard's leadership style was called into question. Trustees, residents, and even former allies accused her of running Dalton like a personal kingdom, making decisions behind closed doors with little transparency or public input. The most troubling of all was her reckless spending of taxpayer money seemingly without care, as though it were monopoly cash. By 20,122, just 1 year into her term, voter discontent reached a boiling point, leading to an unprecedented recall effort that successfully removed her from office. Dalton residents, fed up with her leadership, voted to oust her. But Henyard, ever the fighter, wasn't ready to go down without a fight. She took the recall decision to court, and in a stunning turn of events managed to convince the Illinois Appellate Court to toss out the recall votes, giving her another shot at the office she had nearly lost. Just like that, she was back in power, acting as though nothing had ever happened. This move left many questioning her tenacity, or some might call it her defiance. Instead of stepping back after such a close call, Henyard doubled down on her approach. She didn't reevaluate her methods, tone things down, or mend relationships with those who had grown disillusioned. If anything, her behavior only drew sharper criticism, and tensions in Dalton continued to escalate. It wasn't long before the situation spiraled even further out of control. If anyone thought Henyard might take the opportunity to reassess her leadership, they were sorely mistaken. The situation grew more scandalous by the day, and the FBI became involved. Yes, the FBI showed up at Dalton Village Hall earlier this year, not to chat or conduct friendly business, but to investigate the village's financial records. What they uncovered was far from flattering. The FBI scrutiny signaled that something much more serious was afoot in Dalton regarding the management of taxpayer money. And the investigation has only deepened the already growing questions surrounding Henyard administration. Financial irregularities, mishandling of funds, and questionable practices have been at the heart of the allegations against Henyard, adding weight to accusations of incompetence and corruption. With the FBI now involved, it is clear that Hen's controversial leadership has garnered the attention of federal authorities, and the ongoing investigations have placed her future and her career in greater uncertainty. Far from silencing her critics, these developments have only fueled the flames of discontent, leaving residents and trustees alike watching with growing concern about what might be uncovered next. Instead of presenting herself as a leader working for the good of the community, Hen's time in office has left her isolated, with mounting public distrust and a sense of frustration that seems to grow each day. Despite all of this, Henyard remains undeterred, which has become one of the defining traits of her tenure, a relentless, unapologetic drive that could very well be her downfall, as it risks further alienating the very people she was elected to serve. With the looming FBI investigation casting a shadow over her future, the already turbulent political landscape of Dalton is poised for even more unrest. The question remains, can Henyard survive the storm she's created, or is this the final chapter of a political career defined by defiance and controversy? Henyard's time as mayor of Dalton has been marked by growing controversy and serious allegations, placing her leadership at the center of a storm of scrutiny. The heart of the controversy lies in accusations of financial mismanagement and unethical conduct, particularly in regard to her use of public funds for extravagant personal expenses. Rather